Oh, you guys, so, oh, here's a wonderful thing. Another thing is, it's currently 10:40ish. I still haven't changed my clock from changing time zones from driving from school and home. But anyways, it's 10:40 p.m. And I watched a video and then I got an idea. And I basically did a whole skit and never recorded it. And I was like, should have recorded it. So this is my point of view of depression. Now I'm going to pretend that the camera doesn't exist. Yeah. Why do we come to this understanding that we're viewing depression as negative, that it's not good, that it can't be beneficial? Because depending on the way you think of it, depression has its advantage points. If we switch our ways of thinking of depression and view it as a positive thing, as something that is strong instead of something that weakens you, of something where that makes you a burden, of something where like you can't do that, where it makes you feel guilty of even thinking that you could think of such a thought, because why would you? Instead of, you know what, I don't belong in this group, I don't fit in there, but what happens if I did my own thing? Well, then I would belong in my own thing. I would belong in the place where I feel good by doing what I enjoy, and combining the two things of, yeah, I don't fit in there, but I like this idea you have, so I'm gonna take that with me on my journey to life. And yeah, I'm just gonna stay away from whatever that is. But you guys, I would join that group, but you say great things, but your actions don't line up with your words. So I'll take the information I could gather, but I'll put them to my own action. I will take that idea that sparked an interest in my liking from that group, and then take the information from you, but maybe take the action of them, but they're just not, for some reason, saying it, but they're acting it. So I'll take those together. I'll take the knowledge that I have and I'll make it my own, and I will feel great. Even though I don't belong in any of those groups, I took bits and pieces that made me feel that I may have thought I belonged, and I took those with me instead of those things that make me feel guilty of even saying that I was a part of that I won't pay attention to, because that will have no true significance in my life until I let it control my life. Then it has a huge significance, because then that's all I'm thinking of, because negative thoughts produce more negative thoughts. Positive thoughts produce more positive thoughts. So when I'm feeling that state of loneliness, that place where it doesn't seem like there's a place where I could just fit in and be myself, I'll take the points of views that they are saying or how they are acting and take those as my strong points of saying, I could talk to them about this idea, but when it comes to anything else, I'm sorry, I have to leave because I don't feel good if I'm in that group. Or I could talk to you about all of your topics, but I'm not going to hang out with y'all because I don't like how y'all are acting, because it goes against with what you're saying. Or I'll hang out with y'all, but I'm not going to listen to a word you say because for some reason that doesn't line up with your actions. It's two completely opposite things, which makes no sense, but that's just how it is somehow. And only person who knows why is the group and God. So I'll just leave that between y'all and God for y'all to figure that out, because honestly, that isn't my job, because we are all the centers of our own lives. We all think in the matter good of ourselves, whatever mainly benefits us. Sure, we may help others and everything. Mainly our self comes first in our lives. And that's why when we're here in this negative part, it sucks. Because no matter how many times they say, oh, we'll help you. You would? Where were you when I called you that night? It wasn't even late. And it was one ring until you ended the incoming call. Where were you then? Your words said you would be there, but your actions displayed something else. Or when someone says makes fun of your idea of, how can you possibly think that? Where was your train of thought when you thought of that? There's no way you could think that. When really, that's a wonderful idea. Write it down somewhere. Put it in a spot so that you wouldn't forget it. Or, you know what? I see where your train of thought is going, but write it down and come back to it, because I think it needs some tweaking. But I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying you're on the path. It's a rough draft. It's not going to be perfect every time. It's not going to be perfect on the first time. But that, you know what? That's okay. You want to know why? Because you're trying. You're learning yourself. You're letting your thoughts speak out. And you're not just quickly rejecting it just because of what someone said. When someone makes you feel that your own thoughts, that your own way of thinking is pointless, is because somewhere in their time, they were presented with the same idea of where they were taken down bit by piece by piece, bit by bit. They were just pushed down to the point where when they try to go up, their head hit the ceiling, that they weren't allowed to go past. Nope, that wasn't allowed. They had a limit. And if you go past the limit, oh no, that's not good. When really that's not true. Positive side. Going past your limit is encouraged, because then you see your true potential. You see what you really could accomplish if you just go one step more. If you do one more lap in a mile, if you do if you do 5 minutes of studying for that test, that even though you know it's a difficult subject and you may not really like it and you may think it's pointless at the time, but if you take 5 more minutes and all of a sudden your grade boosts up from a B+ to A-, well then all of a sudden you feel great. You feel like you actually could do it. But if you're told, hey, don't worry about it, you'll get it next time, when really, is there a next time? Because if you're telling me right now to not try now, why would I try the next time? What's the point? What would be the difference if I don't try now? Like, you're not giving me a reason to try, so why would I try next time? Why are you saying next time? What's next time? What's the big difference of next time? Nothing. There's nothing different about next time. Because every time is valuable, every situation, every chance is a valuable point. And if you don't take advantage of every point possible, well then yeah, that's what happens. You would start to question why be here? Why do that? Why go to school? Why do that job? Why go outside? Why? Well, I'll tell you why. Because if you do the things you don't like, say school, say that one class, Well, that one class is one of the requirements to graduate. If you don't graduate, well, then you can't continue education. If you can't continue education, well, then you can't get the knowledge you need in the job you want. Sure, you could go into the field not knowing about it, but then it's going to be really difficult starting below the low. You could be starting here if you took the time to take that class, if you took on that more education, because you have more knowledge of the class, and most likely when you take on more education, you have experience along with it. But if you decide that class wasn't worth it, that you didn't see the point, well then, there goes your diploma, there goes a chance of having a way to get into higher education without having to do other things. Because you could have just done one thing, but now you have to do 10 more to get more education. Well, then you could start with no experience and no true knowledge of that field, and then fight your way up to the top, which, if you didn't even like that one class, then how do you know you could do something difficult if the first time it was presented to you where it really mattered, you pushed it away as if it was nothing, but really it affected your whole life without realizing it. Sure, it was one class, but that one class, you could have learned about that subject in a different perspective of a different subtopic about that subject, and you could have identified that you really like that one subtopic. Maybe you don't like the whole topic in general of the subject, but that one topic, that one idea sparks something in you. And then you go into that field, but you focus on that subject. You apply that knowledge that you learned from that class that you thought you were going to hate, that was going to be difficult, but you put in the time and the work to do it, and you found out something that stuck with you forever, even if you don't remember anything else about the class, but that one idea, that one topic stuck with you, and you apply it to the rest of your life. Why? Because it connected something within you. It got your attention. It made you think. And that's what we're feeling when we're thinking negative. We're stopping the individuals from thinking of the possibilities. We're just saying, push it down, just leave it for later. When's later? I can tell you. If you keep saying later, well, that's not a time frame. That's later could be never. Later could be a second later, a minute later, an hour later, a day, a week, a month, a year, a decade, a century. Who knows when later will be? But when you say later, well, then you think you're giving the person the choice, but really you're just making it worse. Because then it's just building up, and they think they can't speak it, that they can't act on it because they're just told, do it later. No, do it later. What good does that do? It makes whatever needs to be out pushed deeper in. Where's the point of that? But if you let it out in the second, or if you just jot it down for yourself and you act on it in whatever way you're comfortable with, well then I could write down, ooh, I really like science, but I don't really like plants, so that's off the list. But they say, some argue if psychology is a science or not, but you know what, I'll take a course in that before heading off to college. And law sounds interesting, so even though it may be a hard class, I'll give it a shot. If it doesn't work out, well then, it was a high school class anyways, so I'm still getting that diploma. I finished the requirements. I still have that English requirement that last year of English. You know what? I'll take composition, even though it probably a lot of essays, and don't really want to do that my last year of high school. But you know what? They say college is a lot of writing, so maybe maybe if I take that now, then the writing in college won't seem as bad. If I had a whole class of writing multiple essays throughout the year, and then, well, I don't have to take math, but if I do calculus now, I may not have to do it in college, or if I do, at least it would be easier, right? I don't know, they say it's pretty difficult, so, but if I take it now, maybe it'll be easier because it's high school instead of college. I don't quite know, but I'll do it. Ooh, but then physics. Ooh. They say the teacher isn't that great. They say it's a difficult class, that's hard because it's an algebra base instead of calculus, because that's just what they offer. You know, I'll try it, but I don't really know. But I'll do it because 4 science credits sounds better than 3, right? And then you get to those classes at the end of the year, and all of a sudden, I don't see how people could argue how psychology is in science. It's all about how the brain operates, how the person is who they are, how we move across the day, how we think every second of our living as we take in a breath, how we could do things without thinking, and then how we could spend so much thinking of one topic that it's just amazing how someone it could start off from one thing, and then all of a sudden you have a 30-minute dialogue out of nowhere. But then there's this law part. I don't really like putting people in prison, but I like learning and having more exposure on how things get to be passed, and how laws came to be because of these different cases, how these different cases made such an impact on our lives today, in our worlds, in our countries. Well, I like that part. I like knowing how it came to be. But I don't really like defending. But maybe it's just because I don't have that much. Actually, no, it's not the you know what? I'm still not sure about that one. So I'll keep it on the back burner. I'll keep it in my mind. Maybe I could apply it to psychology somehow. But then composition. You know, it turned out to be a lot of writing, but there was a lot of free choice in that. I got to make a comic book for the first time because I had to imply my own. I had to take one of my essays and create it in a different media, and my teacher mentioned comic book, and I was just like, what? That was really fun. Sure, it was a lot of work, but I got a new skill. And then on top of that, my teacher taught us how to write a research paper, and he said that was so key in college because most likely that's what you're gonna do, at least at some point in college, and it's a lot of steps. But I now understand how each step of writing a research paper is valuable, and also I gotta choose my own topic. And because I took that psychology class as well that year, I quickly fell in love with it, and so I applied it to that essay, but then I was like, what else could I add? Oh, teenagers, adolescents, ooh, but then education. And now all of a sudden, I want to learn more about education, especially high school. So maybe I'll do something with that in college. Or, yeah. But then that calculus class, it may be a lot of steps and a lot of things to process, but now it comes easy to me as I have to take it again in college, but now it's just easier, and I memorized it, but now in college I understand it. Where physics, well, that one was a battle. Still don't like it, but there's some concepts I remember, and even though it was a struggle last year of high school, kind of wish I didn't took it. I'm kind of glad that I'm really glad that I did, because now I could say, hey, this, that was a struggle, but you did it. You got a good grade. Why? Because you put in the time. Whereas, physics, maybe I could drop out of it. Too late in the year. Dang. Maybe if I do the bare minimum, I could just pass, or it's too stressful, so I'm just not gonna even attempt or try. Or when I do, I'll just think of how hard it is the whole time and then not really process anything. But I took the approach of, yeah, it's difficult, but so is getting up in the morning sometimes, but I still do it. So you know what, I'll do physics, but I won't think of how difficult it is. Instead, I'll just spread out how I'm studying. I'll spend 5 minutes before going to school, 5 minutes during lunch, 5 minutes after practice, and then when I'm after assignments, 5 minutes after each assignment, maybe. I don't know, maybe that's too much, but a decent amount where I could get maybe an hour in every day, just learn, especially on the days when I don't have that class. Yeah, that's what I did. Why? Because it didn't seem so stressful. 5 minutes, that's fine. I could do 5 minutes multiple times a day. That's fine, as long as it's just not really back to back. And yeah, that's fine. Hey, I got a good grade in that class. But you said you hated it. How'd you get a good grade? That makes no sense. Why didn't I get a good grade? Well, what was your method behind it? What was your tactic going into the class, or doing the assignments, or preparing for the tests? I'm not quite sure. I just knew that it was difficult, and that's all I could think about. That's all I was told. I wasn't really. I mean, people showed me, but then they kept saying, "Oh, take your time." Well, yeah, take your time, but put the thought of it being difficult on the side, or if that is all on your mind, maybe. What helped me one time, right before practice, actually, I had to write it down. I just had to let it out. And then also during practice, when we had match play actually that day. So when I was doing my serves, I in order to get in the service box, I just let all that feeling of it being difficult. That hurt. When I was serving, I just went for it. I just let it all out. But I don't like tennis. I don't really like sports. Okay, that's fine. What do you like? What do you do during your free time? Video games? I don't know how that could really work. Okay, video games. It could work, because maybe when you're frustrated, if video games is what you do during your free time, then I'm guessing, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm guessing that helps you relax. It helps you be in a better mood. It gets your mind off of things.
Well, yeah, that's why I do it.
Okay, well, apply it to physics. Maybe take a concept, say speed. If you're playing a football game, how quick does your runner have to run in order to get to the ball and score it? Be able to kick it in. How fast? What's the velocity? What's the acceleration they need from when they start from a speed of 0 in order to get that speed and velocity of where the football could get into the goal?
Never thought of it that way. No one ever combined the interests, my interest in video games, into something that I don't really like.
Well, see, I don't think that you dislike physics. It's just all you were told is that it's difficult and that there's no way around it, and that you couldn't see that another perspective because you were never given the option.
Depression isn't always about negativity or positivity. It's a mixture of both, but it depends what you choose to pull in more and what you hang on to more, and that will determine your life, and that will determine how you experience those depressive moments. And sure, this doesn't explain a lot, but it's a different viewpoint of thinking. It's not the only, I understand that, but
you want to be an influencer? Cool. You know what you can't do when you're an influencer? I'm not listening to that. Even though a person's an influencer, they could still get an education. Hold on. You stop. I could be an influencer. I could learn about psychology, neuroscience, education, law. I could sing. I could do art. I could be in plays. I could be in movies. I could sing. I could write poetry. I could write novels, books, short stories, scripts. Just because I'm an influencer doesn't mean I can't be an entrepreneur. It doesn't mean I can't be a doctor. The ones that limit you and say you can't do it are the ones that never got an option to experience what they truly desire. They were just pushed down. Next time, buddy. When's next time? Who knows? Bye-bye. When's next time? Better luck next time. Sure, some moments that could work, but every time that will start breaking the person down, you start to take the soul out of the person, and there's just a living creature now. Where's the soul? Who knows? It was torn down, pushed away, compacted in a box, and shoved on the high shelf where not many people could reach without assistance or without climbing on something. But even then, you had to find it between all the other compact boxes of souls up there. Or take the moment to truly understand yourself and realize that it is your own life. So If you want God to be a part of it, cool. If you don't, it's your choice. But don't hear from everyone's point of view. Don't let one person determine the whole result, because if you do, well then your soul's on the shelf and your body's just here and you don't have your own thoughts. But if you take the time to realize, I don't like feeling this way, I don't want to feel this way, how can I get away from this? You know what, now I'll just write it for now, or maybe I'll just say it out loud even though no one's here. I'll just say it, maybe I'll feel, but maybe, I don't know, or maybe I'll go play my sport, I'll go do my video games, or maybe I'll do that one activity I like. And you get your brain to process as you're writing, as you're doing your art, as you're doing your sport. You get your brain working, you get it active, instead of letting it be shut down, not doing anything, staying in bed in a curl up ball and just wondering how you got here. I see how you could get that, and I've been there, but I didn't like feeling like that, so I turned my brain on. I went to go do things that I think will help me in the moment, and that led me to think of other things and create other things. And you know what, I could win this match if I just change this one thing, or at least I'll try. Maybe it will help with winning. If it doesn't, okay, then at least I know that change doesn't work. Then I'll try something else the next match and see if that improves our chances of winning. If it doesn't, well, that's okay. I'll try something else, but I'll jot it down so next time I know. Or maybe I'll ask someone else, hey, I tried this, but it didn't work. Did I do it incorrectly? Is there another way to do it? No? Okay, well, do you think this will work? Maybe. Okay, I'll try next time. I'll let you know. I don't feel like reaching out. Doesn't seem good. Reaching out doesn't seem good. Okay. Did you surround yourself with trustworthy people, or just people that displayed you couldn't tell them anything because they'll make fun of you, or they'll tell others people you didn't want to know? Ended up not trusting them. Okay. Then join a different club, join a different group. Don't be with the people that you feel like you don't belong with, because then that's all you feel. And then it's harder to escape, because you feel like that's the only thing you could do is escape, but then you think you can't because there's like this door, and you don't think you could open it, but let me tell you, you could open it. You could, because it's how your mindset is. What happens if I don't want to leave? If you don't want to leave, well, you're experiencing what you experience for the rest of your life. And if that's what you want to do, that's how you want to feel, is all negativity, then God gave you the choice. But if you want to open that door, take one step a day. Maybe if that group says, hey, we're gonna hang out over here, maybe say you have something else to do. You don't have to be direct or say, I don't want to go today, even if it's hard to say. Or maybe don't say, just shake your head or mute the group chat, so you don't even know when they text you. So when they say, hey, did you get that text? I'm like, no. And that's honest truth. That's okay. One step each day. One step each day makes it easier. Eventually you could open that door and you could go. And you could just go into a new place where you feel that you're not just caged in. And also, I understand what I'm about to say is going to be difficult because it was for me. But look in the mirror. Try to look yourself in the eyes. And if you can't right away, that's okay. Take 5 seconds each day before you walk out of your door, before you go to sleep. Try to look at yourself each day. And if it's hard, that's okay, but don't stop. And if you could look at yourself each day in the eyes, but then state that you are beautiful, that you are smart, that you can do anything, that you are capable, whatever you set your mind to. Do that until you could believe it. And yes, at first it's going to be like, well, this is pointless. But the more you say it, the more your brain is gonna make it so your body feels it. Whatever you tell yourself to do, if you tell yourself enough, eventually your brain is going to be like, okay, we gotta do what we're saying eventually, or else might as well stop saying, but don't stop saying it. Because it's not false, it's truth. You are beautiful, you are smart, you are talented, you can do whatever you set your mind to. And then when you can get to that, and you could say, my hair looks great. Or, if I just there we go. Or, I had a long day, I couldn't wash it, that's okay. Today it will just look like this. When I have the time, I'll wash it another day. And I'm okay with that. I'll just style it differently so I feel better. Or, I'm fine with it being slightly greasy today. That's okay. I know I didn't have the time to do it, or wasn't on my thoughts recently to wash my hair. So as long as I know that, that's fine. If someone mentions it, I'll be like, you know what? I just haven't had the time. And then my eyebrows, they were smaller, wouldn't look really nice now, would it? If they were bigger, well, at least they're not. I quite like them. And go through all the features of your body and find ways where it's good. Maybe the first thoughts will be like, oh, that's not good. Okay, why is it not good? What is your thought process? Why do you think it's not good? Do you think it's not good, or did someone else tell you it's not good? Do that throughout your whole body. And even if you've done that and you truly believe it, continue doing it. Because if you create those positive thinking, if you speak positive words, well, then you're going to generate more positive thinking, more thoughts of positivity, and you'll view the world differently. You would see the little kid covered in mud, not a mess, but that they were able to play in the dirt even though it was raining. But look how much fun they were having. Look at the smile on their face. Okay, they got dirty, that's fine. The clothes could be washed, the child could be washed too, that's fine. That's not a problem. The child was having fun. The child was being themselves. What's wrong with that? Nothing. Mindset. Your viewpoint on everything will determine how you act towards it, will determine who you'll be for the rest of your life, maybe who you'll be for that time, and who knows how long that time could be. It could be a day, a week, a month, a year, 5 years, 10 years, the rest of your life. Whatever you surround yourself with now, they say that's who you're going to be in 5 years. Whoever
the people you surround yourself with, if you don't like what they're doing but you stay there, well, you're going to be like them in 5 years. But if you go to that group where, you know what, I don't think I'm the smartest there, or they seem to be in a better place in their life than I am, go to that group. If they seem better, ask them, why does their life seem better? What do they do? How does their daily life go? Like, how do they approach things? How do they respond to things when it doesn't go their way? Spend time with them. Because those people that you think are better than you or have a better life, if you spend enough time with them, well, then that's what your life's going to be in 5 years. But if you spend it with the people that you don't want to be around, well, then that's what your next 5 years is going to look like. It is your life. You are in control of it. God gave you free will to decide what to do. You could go life throughout a negative point of view. Now, yes, there are going to be negative points in your life, but if you stay here, that's what you're going to focus on. If you go positive and you focus positive, and even though there's going to be negative, there may be setback, but if you change your viewpoint on the setback, like, oh, that didn't work? Okay, well, then I'll just change this part and see if that works. That doesn't work, fine, I'll change something else. But if it was a setback and a negative point of view, well, then you'd be like, oh, didn't work? Okay. No. I mean, well, it is your choice, but why would you want to live somewhere where your dream is crushed the second you try? And also, if it's your dream, is it really your dream if you're not gonna fight for it, if you're not gonna do all that you can to achieve that dream? Is it really your dream at that point? In my opinion, no, but I guess you could think it is if you really want to. But I could go on for another hour, but I'm not going to. Take this as you will. If you enjoyed this video, this isn't the same of what I enacted with myself previously, but now it's 11:20 p.m. and I need to get some sleep because I'm feeling it. I mean, I was up at what, 4:45 this time? Yeah. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe. If you want to comment something down below, do that as well, and give this video a thumbs up if you liked at least one idea across this whole video. And I'll see y'all next time. Bye, y'all. You want to get your high five in? I mean, your wave.
What wave?
You did a wave. I didn't get it in. Oh, yeah. Okay. Bye.
I have to go upstairs.
Okay, have fun with that. And keep in mind, I'm going to pretend that there's other people here because that's what I did with the skit earlier that I wish I recorded. I wish I recorded that one because it was so good, but it probably went on for 20 minutes.